So Mario, you're at Hoy. So tell us a little bit about Hoy. Tell us about your moonshot, and what is unique about the way you're approaching this problem.
Thank you for the time today. Oi Health, our moonshot is access to care. And what we bring to the table is a completely interconnected primary care solution that can give you a doctor, can give you medications, and can provide chronic condition management and RPM services. Our model is based...
RPM stands for?
Remote patient monitoring, sorry. Our model stands on two premises. Number one, it's built for third grade education level in 19 languages today. And we want to make sure that it's available to anybody. So if there is a third-party payer, great. But if not, everything that I described, we offer cash pay to consumers directly as well.
I think that shows real insight into your primary audience. The population is usually underserved, often uninsured, and you created an infrastructure that meets them where they are.
Absolutely. In the US only, we're talking about 136 million people who don't have access to care routinely. So our opportunity was to make sure every stakeholder in the value chain had a participation. So we work with hospitals, clinics, insurance companies, employers. But at the same time, the mission was always to be able to provide it directly to somebody with no third-party support. And we can do that today across 8 countries.
Kevin,
Hi.
Hurdle, talk with us about Hurdle, tell me your mission, your vision statement, but also your moonshot.
Yeah, well, we hit several moonshots, but I'll mention access to care. Hurdle is the leading culturally intentional teletherapy provider. We train our therapists in an evidence-based technique that helps them improve their cultural humility and cultural responsiveness, which is quite significant because 50% of ethnic minorities terminate therapy prematurely because of the lack of provider fit. We're seeing our clients persist 2 to 3 times the national historical average.
Yeah, and I think you coined the term cultural sensitivity.
Well, we like to use cultural intentionality in our company. And, you know, what I would say, not only in mental health, but in healthcare for the last 20, 30 years, we've sort of been using this language around cultural competency. And if we all sort of just take a step back, you know, and we think about the term competency, it's probably unreasonable to think that one could take a hour training program and walk away with competency. So at our company, we like to use language intentionality, humility, and responsiveness.
You know, one of the big trends in healthcare, as you all know, is this move towards precision medicine. We're talking about DNA, we're talking about gender. We tend to forget about culture. It's a huge driver. And even at this particular panel, we have a very diverse and broad coalition of stakeholders, each of whom would approach the same question in a very different set of answers. So moving on to that, let's talk a little bit about how you, Medebound, you're looking at that opportunity, Sheena. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your moonshot and what's unique about your approach.
Sure. So basically, as of today, half of the global patient population only receives suboptimal care when it comes to serious disease. So traditionally, a patient has to travel thousands of miles to the United States if they can afford the travel and to get treated. And the cost, as you can imagine, is, you know, like $500,000 to $1 million minimum. So for every one person who can afford that travel, there are thousands of people who cannot afford, but still desperately in need of that type of assistance, medical expertise, which can ultimately save their lives. So Medebound Health is basically bridge this connectivity by saying that telehealth is not just domestic level, it should be global level. When we zoom out, look at the global population, patient population, there are so many people struggling and suffering, and however, the infrastructure is not yet in place. The telecommunication technology is so advanced, but so many other countries are still struggling to figure out how to establish that connectivity to US top doctors, including medical expertise provided by the major university hospitals, but also the medicine. So part of our telehealth platform includes the access to the latest medicine for patients who are in need of those critical treatment.
Absolutely. And also to put a point on it, you've specifically focused on this global telemedicine platform, but in China, correct?
Currently in Asia, but mostly in China, that's true.
And partner with local insurance platforms to make this service available. So You've integrated into the local healthcare system and created this platform to provide access.
Absolutely. So our starting point is to partner with local insurance companies where they provide this as our services to their members. because it's already become very apparent patients that when they are seeking advanced care for their serious life-threatening disease, they would like to, not just limited to their local doctors, they actually actively searching possible solution to save their kids' lives, their parents' lives. And
Terrific.
so, yeah.
Thank you. So Erik, you've taken a slightly different approach. Tell us about your moonshot and also spell out what TAG stands for, your company's name.
Absolutely. Hi, so I'm Erik Nielsen, the founder and CEO of TAG. The moonshots, the two moonshots that we're going after are accessibility and affordability. And the way that we're doing that is we fundamentally believe that there's gold that sits in that therapy room, in that one-on-one session. But the problem is it's locked in that room. And it's really expensive to get access to that. Most people can't. I think you mentioned 136 million. There are 90 million adults who say they can't afford it and need it. So what we're doing is bringing that gold out of that room and into the hands of everyone. And so the way that it works is we have what we call storytellers. These are real patients, real people who go through the stuff that you and I do, and they get into intimate moments. They get really candid about their struggles. Then we take a licensed clinician who specializes in that condition, and we do what we call a game film. So just like a coach would do with a team, that clinician breaks down that testimonial, and instead of giving that advice just to that one person, they give it to our members. So we can radically scale up the gold, the advice that sits in that room. So we're approaching it a very different way on the platform. It starts out at $5 per condition. So for under $100, you can get hundreds of coping skills. So it's a different way to approach it.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So,
and TAG stands for
yes.
The anxiety game.
There you go.
It's the game that we all play and that we have a hard time winning. So TAG is out there to help you win.
Excellent. All right. So I'd like to go down the line and give you about 30 seconds to answer this question.
Sure.
If I'm now a potential partner of yours, and you can decide if I'm a financial partner or if I'm a partner in healthcare, what are you looking for as Hoy Health?
Hoy Health, what we looked is for people to adopt our engagement model, where we work with really vulnerable populations. As an example, we're able to achieve glycemic control within 90 days, 72% of our patients. So we have a really sophisticated system, but healthcare is localized. So we need to be able to replicate that in local communities across the operating footprint where we work. And we're always looking for partners that can support that mission of allowing us to validate with them.
So partner with a local footprint.
Local footprint could be hospitals, could be systems, could be payers, and we're working through all of those as we speak.
Kevin, same question for you.
Yeah, the ideal partner would be an employer or a payer who realizes that their current solution doesn't meet the need of all of their members or employees, and they want to round out their offering to make sure that they have a culturally intentional offering for all of their employees, our members, rather. Too.
Yeah. Sheena?
Yes, for Medebound Health, I would say that we established our proprietary telehealth platform that allows multilingual translation and currency exchange when they do the payment. But at in a long-term vision, we would like to establish that interoperability between healthcare system in the United States and have that kind of HL7, whatever type of interface to our system that and seamlessly connect to the other hospitals, including Asia, possibly in the future Middle East.
So
that
sounds
we
like
can,
a good partner for you is a technologically savvy partner.
yeah, that could be also,
Terrific.
I would say, the healthcare systems in the United States.
Erik, nobody else needs money right now, so this is a good time to get a financial partner.
Well, we've been fortunate on that front, but yes, absolutely a financial partner. Every.
And what kind of, if it was a financial partner, what kind of characteristics do you look for in a potential?
I think the partners that we've met through StartUpHealth, ideally, we're looking for founder partners. So folks that have built in fact, we've met a couple through StartUpHealth that became health transformers and are now investors in the platform, which has been hugely beneficial. I think in addition to investors, youth is a huge problem. The stigma with youth is a big problem. So we're looking to get into colleges, high schools, and get the program accessible there, get the conversation going, get these folks able to,
that's fantastic.
in a private
new way of
mode.
looking at it.
That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to my magic wand. For those of you who were here yesterday, you get to wave the magic wand and bring us 20 years forward and tell us what the world looks like when your platform is adopted at its fullest potential. And try to keep it around 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds. What we're looking to do in 20 years is
Wave the wand.
I'm waving the wand.
It's Hogwarts certified.
What we're looking to do is have a ubiquitous primary care entry point into healthcare, regardless of language or location. The primary care landscape everywhere in the world is the same, and the inputs and the outputs are the same. So we have a system that we think could be replicated. As an example, we're launching a free electronic medical across all of Mexico for Mexican physicians to capitalize on opportunities like these.
Yes, that's well done. I think it'll work.
Got to take this serious. 20 years from now, mental health care will be considered a part of health. But not only that, it will be normalized, socialized among people as a way of healthy living.
I like it.
Thank you. So 20 years from now, I would imagine that patients, no matter where they are, which country they reside in, they can access the best possible care and at comfort of their home countries.
Outstanding.
I'll wave it and make it bend.
Oh, I like it.
Oh,
I like it.
mental. I would say, our physicians say that getting mental health care should be just like getting a dentist. It's both preventative, it's regular, and it's that normalized. And for us, we're going right after the suicide rate. You know, for people that are age 10 to 34, outside of accidents, suicide is the leading cause of death. That's preventable. And early stage care is key, and that's exactly where we play.
Outstanding visions. I think we can all get around behind those. All right, one more question for each of you guys. We'd like to get to some entrepreneurial lessons learned you can share with our audience. So Mario, at StartUpHealth, the question I got for you has to do with working with pharma, because I thought it was very interesting how you provide, you've managed to work with pharma to create low-cost opportunities for access to medications to your patients. So what was that like, and what lessons did you learn in that process?
First of all, I have a background in pharmaceuticals and other healthcare ventures in my 25-year career in healthcare. So at each of those stages, I saw a challenge where the pharmaceutical industry is looking to serve underserved communities in a way that isn't impacting payer modalities in the US. A lot of people don't know that there's a huge cash pay model where the pharmaceutical products are offered to consumers directly. There's companies like GoodRx who are able to do that. But when you look at that perspective and you put it into the perspective of a consumer ultimately doing a transaction, if I buy pantoprazole in Manhattan, no insurance involved, I pay $153 for a 30-day supply. If you use our system, you pay $6.42. That is an aggregation strategy where the pharmaceutical industry understands that, hey, cost eventually is going to catch up to you. And we're working with them to create models that eventually get the patient access to medications in an affordable manner, because ultimately their goal is to increase adherence and adoption.
And the entrepreneurial lesson there is?
That it takes a lot of time to partner with a lot of institutions. We did the big approach, and it took us about 4 years to have a complete ecosystem that includes partners like Verizon Wireless, Mayo Clinic, and others as part of our ecosystem. And if I would have thought
the entrepreneurial lesson I got from that was that you have to understand the partner's business model.
Absolutely.
And you can then work with it.
Agree.
Kevin, hurdle, leadership, entrepreneurial lesson. You've tackled a problem that came to the forefront during COVID. What can you share with us about what you learned these last 2 years?
I think it's important for leaders, particularly for founders, early stage companies, particularly those of us who are leading health companies, mental health companies, to always acknowledge the tension in the room. So we're advocating for good health and taking good care of yourself. But by nature of the work that we're doing and the expectations that we have to move our companies fast, there's an elephant over in the room, corner of the room. And if you don't acknowledge that, I think it becomes a big problem. So I'm very clear with people who I lead that this is a demanding environment. It's not for everyone. And you have to be mature enough to take good care of yourself, because I'm going to be calling you every day, all day.
That's right, exactly. But also, I think what you said was actually very insightful, and I would expect you to say, which is actually an internally facing learning about managing a company during an extremely stressful time and acknowledging it and bringing it forward. And for a mental health company to do that and to realize that actually that may not have been as obvious even in the work you do, and to remind us all, it's really good thought. Sheena, Medebound, you and I have talked back stage, and I assumed that access to the internet for you would be an issue, but you told me that actually that wasn't the case. That wasn't your number one challenge. What was your biggest learning trying to bridge the divide between China and the United States?
Yeah, I think first
Or Asia.
back to the COVID part, right? I think the first of all, I'd like to say that I remember Churchill said that you should not waste any good crisis. I think it's catastrophic. Apparently, COVID has brought all of us, but I see that that actually bring us together on this stage, and you see the hype of the digital health and how it flourished. In the last so many years, it's been stagnant, but now it's just everybody's on this wave. But on the other hand, I think it takes entrepreneurs a lot of resistance to, just focus on the consumer's need, their end needs, how to make things cheaper, faster, make access possible. So despite of the hype, I hope that we as entrepreneurs still sort of really focus on the fundamentals of building a business.
Yeah. So your take home is there's a lot of hype, but just remember, focus on the business model, execute on your strategy, and don't get lost in the hype of
noises.
The noise.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Erik at TAG.
Yeah, I think the obviously the scale of the problem is impressive, but for us, I think the entrepreneurial lesson was, you think about the end consumer, you think about the end user. And in digital, especially in behavioral health, that person isn't in a great state of mind to be receiving, right, marketing messages, advertising messages. It might even reinforce the depression that they're going through. So for us, we pivoted really quickly and said, hey, the people we need to talk to are the caregivers. That's really the audience. That's the way into the end user. So that was a big shift for us. I think that was a learning that sometimes the consumer that you think you're supposed to be talking to really isn't the way in.
I love that statement. And I think I'll give you a little twist for me in the last 3 seconds. There's a lot of people focusing on patient experience and patient wellness. It's time to start focusing on physician experience and physician wellness, because the caring force, the same thing you talked about, the patient caring for the person taking care of the patient isn't always in the right space either.
That's right.
There's a real opportunity there. With that, I want to thank you guys. We're running time. Really great answers, really great questions from all of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. And I'm going to call up or let you guys lead.